Welcome everybody to The Ride with Russell. I got some very special guests with me today. I got Amber and Robert Everson. The reason they're on here today is because I wanted to take a little diversion from what I normally do with having athletes on here, and everybody's always a football player, or basketball, or baseball. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Rayla Everson, which is their daughter, who is like an amazing singer, talented, like just artistic kid, acting, singing, all the performing arts. So I just wanted, Amber, I want you to brag about your baby. I want you to talk about it, because we were talking earlier about MTCA, and I kind of messed it up, and you were like, hey, let me show you what's going on. So if we're going to start with that, like, What is the MTCA?
Okay, so MTCA is Musical Theater Competition of America, and it is it's a program where it houses maybe 50 to 60 high schoolers, where they submit applications so that way they can go to this competition and have adjudicators review all their students for solos, duets, composers, and group performances. And they're graded and they're rated solo, first, second, and third place. Okay. And Rayla's been doing that for the past 3 years of her high school career.
Okay, yeah. Because see, when I saw that, I was just like, I didn't know any of this stuff. I'm like, obviously Morgan did dance and she performed like that. But it was like, once I really started looking into it and I reached out to Robert, it was just like, I forgot. Like, I've known Rayla her whole life, and I've always known she was a singer. But to then all of a sudden see the conservatory, to be at MTCA, to be winning and doing all the things that she's doing, I'm like, this is no different than what these boys do for football. So, like, when did that musical love come in for her? Like, because, with football players, it's always early. They find out real quick, I love this or I don't. So, like, when did that start for Rayla, and you knew this is the direction she wanted to go?
6 months old.
Really?
I mean, she would sing and hum before she would even say her first words.
Yep.
She was and she would, before she even said mom and dad, she was constantly like picking up tunes and just, she loved nursery rhymes. Not that I'm not a singer at all.
That was my question. I was going to who she get this from?
Neither one of us.
I wish we could take that credit, because she's got such great talent that is just, it's amazing. But she loved music since she was a baby, and then she grew into like idolizing Michael Jackson and learning every single song, watching every single dance move, and then just would sing all day, all night. And then eventually we're like, okay, so let's get you into some music lessons at the age of 5. So she started taking music lessons at the age of 5. And then we would, and she always would be in choir, and then once she got into high school, she did do her freshman year at a performing arts high school here in Gilbert. And that's where she was able to really excel and be on the stage and really understand, like, this is where she wants to do. Like, she wants to be on stage. She wants to be a singer. She loves to perform. And that's just where she shines. Like, she is not scared whatsoever.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. That would scare me to death.
Yes.
I mean, playing in front of thousands of people, they don't see you, but you are right there.
Yeah.
And everybody in this audience is like, okay, Rayla, go.
Yeah. And then at that point, at the end of her freshman year, she decided to change schools where we live in Queen Creek, and we transferred her to the Queen Creek High School. And coincidentally, they have a great performing arts center. They really, really do. And right next to it is the town of Queen Creek Performing Arts Center. So we get to share this huge, ginormous auditorium and stage with the high school, and if she did any of the other shows that we'll get into later that she got to do. And so Queen Creek is the one that did the application to do the competition that they do every year. We fundraise like crazy because it's very expensive.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And they're there for 3-4 days worth of just constant doing drills, doing classes, doing workshops on top of their, auditions for their solos, their duets, their groups, whatever. I lovely got to go and be a chaperone last year for her senior year. So I got to be a part of it, got to
like
watch
a dance
it.
Mom.
Yes.
Hold on, you're not crazy like that.
No, but I've never got to do that before. I never got to do that before, because in all of Rayla's shows, it was always drop off, pick up. Like, I never was the backstage mom, because Rayla was just so like, Mom, like, it's not that she didn't need me,
Right.
but I didn't need to be all up in her business like some of
Yeah.
the other parents and watching them. And like, 'cause we know like she's going to kill it. I don't
Yeah.
need to hover
Yeah, I
over
don't need to
her.
be there. My baby's the best.
Yes. Yeah. So we just show up and watch the show. We're like, yeah, that's our girl.
Baby. That's my baby. Because
Yeah.
I love it because everything that you're saying, it just matches up with all these athletes that I have on here. Like when you're talking about going to camps, it's
Yeah.
the same thing as training camp,
Yeah.
working on
Yeah.
your craft. Like,
Yeah.
like what is her practice schedule like, if that even makes sense with what she does? Like if you had to say, okay, after she got done with school, here's her regimen afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, what was
Yeah.
that like for her?
It was long hours. So if it's a show week or a rehearsal week, I mean, she'd be at school till 7 o'clock, and then she'd have to come home, eat dinner, do homework, and then up again, early in the morning. So it would take a toll on her, and we always dreaded show weeks because they were there so early and do the show, run it through, and then they perform. She would technically, sometimes get sick, and we'd have to just power up with, the
Pump her
vitamin
up full of
C,
stuff,
yep,
yeah.
and keeping her
Emergency,
hydrated,
yeah.
yes. But she would always, her throat would be really sore and agitated, so we'd have to put her on vocal rest, and she wouldn't talk to anybody for the rest
Really?
of the night. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a thing. And she's been doing it even now at school where she's at right now. She's like, Mom, I got to go on vocal rest. My throat is just killing me. And I'm like, okay, well, you better stick to it.
Wow, that's
So-
so it's literally just
Yeah.
like what these boys are doing, what anybody does with their sports.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're overtraining, so
Yeah.
we need to back off a little bit. Your
Right.
hamstrings are bothering
Right.
you.
Yeah.
So when you became that behind the stage mom, were you like, because I know for me, I had to step away in high school because I've always been there with Deuce since he was a baby. I mean, you know that. And so for me, high school was finally his opportunity to find his own way
Yeah.
and to be his own man per se. And was that what it was like for her in high school?
Yes.
Like letting her find her
Yes.
own way and develop?
Exactly. Yeah. Let her own way develop, be with a group of friends that she kept a really tight circle because again, with sports, with star athletes, there's the ones that, want to be your friend, but low key don't want to be your friend, but they want to be
Yes.
close to you. And so she had to encounter a lot of, unfaithful people in her lives. And that was really probably the hardest part.
That's probably
of her.
hard for you.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to tell them like, this isn't really your friend and this person's around for that. And they don't believe you. And it's like, it goes in one ear and out the other. And then when they find out the hard way, you're just
Yeah.
like, it breaks your heart
It
because you're
does.
like, I saw this coming, but you didn't want to listen to me. And now you're like, I'm so sorry. And I'm crying for you. So
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're sitting over here really quiet and mom's doing all this talking now, Robert.
Hey,
I've
man.
I've known you way too long. So like when baby girl's up there performing, like you gotta get like
Oh man, dude, it is she really gets under my skin when she sings, man.
Really?
Dude, when she sings sometimes, man, I just get all teary-eyed and emotional and stuff, man, because it's like she's a part of me, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And I can feel her passion when she sings and anything that she does, like she puts 110% into it. Like she's not a slacker. She doesn't expect anyone to give her anything. And man, she works hard for everything, man. And I'm proud of her and I get just as emotional as she does, when she's performing. So yeah, man, I'm always excited to
it
see her
gotta
do
be
her
like
thing.
I would be even more emotional because I know when Morgan performed, you're thinking because you watched the practices all week, you know how it should look. You've seen the coach get
Yeah.
on them, and it's just like go, and now it's performance time, and you're just like. You say a quick prayer and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, baby,
Yeah.
let's go. Come
Yeah.
on, don't mess
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Everything's got to be right. And you hate to see when something goes wrong, whether it's the microphone or the music, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you're killing me. So has there ever been a situation where you saw her up there and something went wrong? Like, how does she deal with that? Like, if, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like for football,
Yeah.
a play may go wrong. And how do you
Yeah,
deal with
well,
that?
what's funny is that when we watch her, we know when her voice is like on, and she knows it too. So we can pick up just like the little details of like her vocals, but every time we're like, oh my gosh, really did amazing. And she's the one like just cracking down like, no, it was
Critiques
awful.
it.
Like I was really this and I was
does.
too short and I was late for this. So she's the one that's hard on herself.
yeah.
But I mean, we know like she gives it her all, but just the little vocal parts that are like, but everyone's
nobody
like,
else noticed
no
that.
one knows.
Yeah. Even if she's doing a show and she messes up on a part or something, like she knows how to just move
Cover.
past that part and go into her next part like it never even happened. And people that sit down in the audience will never even know. And that's just kind of like, and it's just like a natural instinct that she has and a talent just to know that, you know, she just needs to move on. She can't try to go back and fix it because once you screwed it up, you screwed it up. You got to keep it moving. So,
and it's live, so you don't have that. But I just think that's amazing because, I mean, I've seen my kids do it, but I've known Rayla for a long time, and I remember little Rayla Boo. That's what you used to call her in the shop, Rayla Boo.
We still call her Rayla Boo.
And she would be around the shop singing. So now I'm seeing her, and I'm like, this work that she puts in, like, where do you come in when it comes to her training? Like, are you at home, like, listening to her sing, and you're trying to critique her, or do you just let her kind of get a break when she comes home? Like, you've already done enough work.
Yeah. Well, you know, now we don't get to be a part of her day-to-day, you know, of her routine, which is kind of sad. She's in college. But when she would work from home, we just let her have her quiet space. She goes into her room, she works on her music, she rehearses, she records herself, she plays it back. And then when she feels really comfortable, she'll be like, hey, Mom and Dad, do you guys want to hear what I was just working on? And then she'll come in and I'm like, yes.
Yes, I've been waiting all day.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been sitting there.
And we're like, yes, we're so excited. So then she comes in and does her little, you know, her little show of what piece she was working on. And we're like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It's leading up to like MTCA. Like, this is the song I'm going to be singing that for my solo. Like, and this is like a powerhouse song that she sang from The Color of Purple, which is I Am Here.
I Am Here. I gotta go back and look at
you got to look it up. It'll give you chills. It's
really
powerful. And so she was working on this song. She did it for 2 years in a row. The second year, which was her junior year, you know, again, Robert's mixed. I'm white. Rayla looks more white than Robert's complexion. And she got some really sad feedback when she did her junior year when she sang this song, where one of the adjudicators was completely white, who was on Broadway, and gave Rayla the feedback like, okay, so white girl to white girl, what made you decide to sing this song?
Yeah.
And Rayla's like, I'm not.
Why does that matter?
Right?
Yeah, why does that even make
it? I was blown away when I heard this comment. Blown away. But we circled back, and her senior year, she's like, I'm singing the song again.
Yes, good for her.
I'm singing the song again. Why can't I sing this song?
Yeah, why can't you? Yeah, there's no reason why you can't.
She sang it, and she got first place.
Good job. Good for her. That was the first place soloist, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. She won some money about that, right?
Then she won an additional award as outstanding vocalist and won the $500.
See, that's not fair, man. These kids getting paid. See, that's NIL money. That's your NIL. But that's awesome. So now you're in high school now, and she's getting to that last year, and now where are you going to go with this? It's just like when Deuce started preparing to go to college. It's like when Morgan started preparing. Like, how do you make those decisions and choices about where she's going to go to continue her education and help her with her performing skills?
So up until March, we really didn't know where Rayla was going to go after she graduated. So last summer, she got a scholarship to Open Jar, which is a Broadway camp, which I didn't put on the list for you. And it was a week-long Broadway camp. No, it's my fault. It's a week-long Broadway camp that she got a scholarship from MTCA again, because there's so much opportunity at this competition where there's so many different people from either New York or LA that are directors and, you know, producers, and they're, you know, and they have studios, they have workshops, they have dance halls, so they're giving things away to all these kids that they see fit that, you know, are deserving of it. And so this one judge gave Rayla the scholarship to Open Jar, which was in New York, and we're like, oh my gosh, like it was like very expensive, you know, and I'm like, we didn't want to send Rayla by herself, so we made it a family trip. Like, okay, fine, we're going to go with you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not sending you out to New York by yourself.
So we all went to New York for the first time as a family. Rayla and our son Devin have never been to New York City. And we got her all signed up for her Broadway camp. Me and Robert did like the touristy stuff, you know. So she'd go to camp all day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then they did a showcase Friday night. She just loved it. She left saying, Mom and Dad, just so you know, I'm moving to New York. And we're like, what? You know, and this is like leading up to her, you know, going back to school, being a senior, but we still have no idea what she's going to do. So we're, you know, she's doing her thing. She's doing her show. She's doing Grease. She's doing Sister Act. You know, she's going to MTCA. And then once she got that scholarship, to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, that's where she's like, okay, I think this is just my sign that I just need, this is my ticket to get to New York.
Yep.
So come March was when we got the, the trip planned for MTCA. We came back, we're like, all right, well, we started talking with the school and learning about the program and come to find out it was, it's a musical theater program / TV and acting film school. And it's a 2-year program. Rayla's like, I'm sold. Like, I'm ready. Let's go. So we didn't have a whole lot of preparation, like you probably were with, with Deuce, getting him ready for Tucson. And all, we did it like a crash course in a matter of like a few months.
Yeah.
So it was a little scary because we're like, is this the right thing? Like we didn't even do a tour school. Like we didn't, look where it was at in the city and like how far was her commute's going to be. Like we just, we all went together and
it was like she loved it.
Yeah.
Didn't turn it down.
God,
Great opportunity.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure it is because it was it's just all, I'm just sitting here taking it in because I'm like, it is so similar to what these athletes go through. I mean, when Deuce and I went down to Tucson and it was like, hey, this is why you should, I think this is why you should go to this school. And it's like, you're there and he just loved it. He didn't take any other visits, didn't want to talk to anybody else. I mean, but for me, it was a little bit different because I kind of knew what to expect because I'd been through it.
Yeah.
But for you, this is like first time.
Very brand new.
All brand new. And you're like, my baby girl's going to New York.
Is this the right thing? Like, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right school? Because there's like 300 different, performing arts schools in the state of New York. Like, is this the right one? I don't know. Is it a good fit? Like we were freaking out. And all summer long, we were just like, I don't know. I think we were just kind of like,
my baby's leaving.
Right. Like, it's not happening. Like, it's no way. It's not happening,
Oh, my God. I love that because, like I said, it's so comparable to what I went through and with Deuce and even with Morgan when deciding like, wow, you're about to spend the next 4 years, 2 years of your life in this place. Are you happy here?
Right.
And I know for me when, it came time to help Deuce with that decision. My wife, I'm saying my wife like you don't know Ivana.
I know.
Ivana. And we sat there and we were like, okay, well, here's a list of things, Deuce. Let's say, because everybody changes, these coaches come and go.
Right.
Is this somewhere that you can see yourself being for the next 4 years?
Right.
Is this an environment that you want to be a part of? And it just seems like you've done the same thing with her when she went to New York. So now I want to backtrack a little bit because we did skip over a couple things because you mentioned it. Greece.
Yes.
So what was she in Greece?
Okay. So like I said, we live in Queen Creek and then the town of Queen Creek has a performing arts center, just like, Chandler has the Chandler one. There's a Higley one. So there's different little community performing arts centers. And it ranges from like either doing youth programs to adult programs. So they had an audition going for Greece back in October of 2022. And it was stepping out of like her high school realm bubble, right? And now she'd be working with a different director, working with different cast members. And she was a little hesitant on like stepping out of that boundary because her high school bubble kept her mindset of sticking in high school. Do not step out and go to other performing arts centers.
Really?
So it kind of kept her like in a controlled environment where she was like,
grow like
I
that.
know. And that was the thing that me and Robert supported her. Like, no, you don't have to always do high school. If you don't want to do this show, go somewhere else and do something. You are really talented. You can get anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she started to really think about, auditioning for Greece. And she's like, I'm just going to do it, Mom. I'm like, good. Go for it. Let's go. And she auditioned and she got the part Rizzo.
Yeah.
And
so who is Rizzo? Just in case they don't know who Rizzo is.
Pink Lady.
The Pink Ladies, yeah.
She runs the show. And it's high energy music, as you know. Like it is all dancing, all singing. It is very poppy. And she had a blast. I mean, absolutely had a blast. And, we got to share it with all of our friends and family, promote it like crazy.
Not all your friends. I blame your husband.
Yeah, I'll give him that one. And we just had a great time watching her on stage. We'd go to every single show, every single night. And she had a ball. Like, she just didn't want it to end. She was so sad it ended. And then it came to, they were going to be doing auditions for Sister Act, which was in February. That happened to have been an adult cast. And Rayla at the time was 17. So the director made an exception and said, no, go ahead and audition. She's like, okay, well, I'll just audition for like a nun, who knows?
Like, I'm just going to go in
I
for
just
a
want to go
backup
back
part.
up. I want to go back up. And the director's like, no, if you want to go for Dolores, you should try and go for a Dolores.
And that Dolores is the Whoopi
lead.
Goldberg's
Yes,
part, right?
Yeah.
What was her sister? What was
Sister Mary Clarence.
Sister Mary Clarence? Yeah, I had that confused with the real jolly one that was always upbeat.
Yeah.
Okay, so she had the lead role.
Yeah, she got the lead role in Sister Act in this adult cast. So she auditioned next to adult women trying for this part, and she crushed it.
Oh man, that's great, because in my mind I'm sitting here, I'd be like watching them like, don't you do nothing to my baby.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they did a great. Oh, she had the time of her life.
Did she? That's so great, because all this is, I love this because I remember little baby Rayla coming to the shop, and I was still playing football. My kids were young.
Yeah.
And you know, they were a little bit older, but not much. And I remember her and Devin, it'd be like, hey, what's up? They're just running around the store.
Right.
And now to be like, oh my God, like Rayla's in New York, and like, okay, so with her being in New York, I know she loves New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she tells you about New York all the time. Like, have you been able to go see her yet?
Not yet. We're actually going to see her in about a week or two. We're leaving November 5th. We're going to see her just for a few days. Okay. So we're really excited.
Yeah. You're going to cry when you leave?
I don't know, because she's going to come back for Thanksgiving.
Okay, so you do have Thanksgiving, because I know when mine left, they don't come home unless they need something. Like, I don't hear from them. That, you know, when you do hear from them, it's like, hey, Dad, I need something, I need this, I need that. So what's that been like having only one kid in the house now? Like, you got baby girls gone, and now it's just Devin.
And Devin.
The high maintenance guy.
Yeah, he's a sophomore in high school. You know, so he just got his permit. So we're learning the driving situation. He likes to go to the gym, and he likes to be home playing video games. So he isn't super active, but he is very social with his friends. Good. He's, you know, freshman year was kind of like testing the waters. He just didn't do a whole lot. Now he's like, okay, I'm no longer at the bottom of the totem pole. He's got like a lot of friends on campus, and he's super confident in himself. It's totally different, but he's a great kid having at the house. Yeah. He's a lot of fun. He's super chill. It's quiet at the house for sure, because Rayla's the one that would be cracking jokes and just, making us, oh my gosh.
See, I would have thought
so
the complete
funny.
Opposite.
No, she is so funny.
She could be a comedian.
She could be a comedian.
Well, I think she picked that up from me being around the shop. She picked up some of my humor.
Man, no
but
doubt.
she's so good at doing impersonations. Yeah.
So this whole talent thing, like, you didn't perform. Like, is there a family member, grandmother, aunties, nobody?
No.
So this just came out of.
Yeah.
Not that we know
Not that
of.
we know of. Now, other than like my family back home in Alabama, everybody sings in church. So,
well, that's different. I sang in the choir in church, but you wouldn't want to hear me now. But, so that just makes me wonder, because I'm like, I look at, I can look at kids and I'm like, oh, that kid's a football player.
Right.
He's going to be this.
Yeah.
But to have somebody who's a singer, like, to me, that takes an ear. Somebody needs to be playing music a lot. You have to be around it. It's just like football. Like, you're going to learn, like, being around it. So it wasn't a lot of, you didn't play like a lot of old school stuff or music that she just picked up.
It was like, we listened to hip hop in the car, and she just loved it. And then somehow we would just listen to Michael Jackson was like a huge. And then she loved like Luther Vandross, and she loves Whitney Houston, and like, so she does like a lot of soulful music, and that's where she really gravitated to.
Oh, that's great, because I was going to ask you what some of her influences were. So what about Beyonce? Because my daughter loves Beyonce.
She does like, well, Robert, Dad got to take Rayla to the Beyonce concert.
Really? The recent one?
The one in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you were talking about the one here. I'm like, ooh.
So we went the following weekend to Vegas.
Ooh, how was that?
It was fun. It was fun.
Beyonce.
We had a good
experience.
Time. So I went with one of my buddies, Darius Bursch. I went with him and his daughter, Darian. We all went together, so it was like a daughter-daddy weekend. Just the four of us, and we hung out.
Who does she use now? Who's her inspiration, like, musically now? I mean, I know those were all like kind of old school, and that kind of helped mold her. But like, who does she grab? Because I like listening to SZA a little bit, and I like a little bit of the neo soul kind of music. So like, what is her genre of music that she likes?
Right now, her genre of music. Well, for one, she loves The Weeknd.
Really?
Loves The Weeknd.
He's different. He's like an 80s vibe.
Yeah,
like,
and that's her thing. Like, she is different. Like, that's going back to the Michael Jackson. Like, she loves all of like the 80s Michael Jackson. Really? She can name every single Jackson 5 album and song. Like, when it was recorded, like, she knows everything about that family. It's crazy. Wow. But as far as like other music genres that she listens to right now, I feel like The Weeknd is huge. She does like SZA, Ice Spice.
Okay, all right.
And then
okay.
you know,
you better not say nothing about some of these other young ladies.
No, I'm not going to go. No,
okay,
no.
You're gonna take this somewhere it doesn't need to go.
She listens to all kinds of music.
She does.
Really.
That's awesome because like that old school. Because I know when I'm in the car and Morgan rides with me. And I've always listened to like old school. I hate saying old school because it's like what we grew up on. But now to the kids, it's old school. And I'll get in the car sometimes with Morgan now, and she's playing Michael Jackson and Prince. What about Prince? She didn't.
No.
She never liked Prince.
No.
You gotta elaborate on that. You can't just say no. Like.
I know. I don't get it either. She just didn't like the tone and didn't like the look and all that. She just didn't vibe with it.
Yeah.
It was always Michael Jackson, and she does love like old school hip hop. Like she loves Tupac. She loves Ice Cube, Dr. Dre. Like she just loves like the hip hop culture in general. So she's a huge fan. The one thing that she will never ever sing that she swears to is country.
Yeah.
Really?
Which I'm kind of sad because I love country.
Really? You do? I only know a couple songs. Like I got a little small story. I don't know. You may have heard it. When I was in Chicago, my rookie year, the rookies had to get up and sing and do all this different stuff. And I remember I used to sing, and the guy, one of the defensive linemen was like, "You're always singing R&B." Well, bro, that's what I know. I'm sorry.
Right.
He goes, "I want to hear country music." Don't know it. You need to go and you need to find Garth Brooks. I'm like, Garth Brooks? Like, all right. So I went and found Garth Brooks. I don't even know what album it was, but the song was Thunder Road.
Oh, wow.
And I learned, I could actually sing it for you right now, word for word.
Nice.
But I had to get up and sing it in front of everybody, and I'm just singing this song as the thunder rolls. And everybody's like, oh my God, you really know a country song. So that's kind of
that's funny.
my only country song
That's
I
cool.
know. So I think that's just great how there's been so many different genres of music that have like impacted her. Because once again, I just make the comparison to sports because there were so many people that I used when it came to developing Deuce. Like Simeon Rice is a big influence into who I feel like Deuce is today. But playing with Michael Strahan, playing with some of these other guys, you start to get little bits and pieces from everybody to create what you feel like is what's going to be next. You know, it's going to be the next great athlete, going to be the next great singer.
Yeah.
So you pull from all these different people, and then you create your own little, character out of all that. So like, who else? Like, so it was Michael Jackson. It was Whitney Houston.
Luther,
yes, Luther.
Gosh, Aretha Franklin is another, like, very soulful songs. Yeah. Because she just, she can hit, because she understands the vocal range, and she totally respects it, like, because she understands that it's very hard, and not everyone can do it or is talented enough to have the skills to do it. So, she's extremely blessed to have that.
Absolutely. God-given ability.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I always keep making the comparison back to sports because there's so many similarities. It's like, you can have all the God-given ability in the world, but if you don't work at it, and just listening to you, and the training and going to see the proper people and taking care of vocal rest, like that's just like vocal rest, like it's just singing, like. But you can have all kind of problems and issues come from that. It's overtraining. So that's what the things that I really wanted to get you guys on here was to bring in that dynamic, and just because I know there are people out there that I want to be in touch with. And I want them to know that it's not just football. It's not just about athletics. Like I know a big group of people, and it's entertainment, music. So getting Rayla on here, I would love to have her on here when she's got free time. But she's a superstar now. So.
And going back, and going back to training. So Robert did some research on finding her like a really good vocal coach, and because we had tested a few others, around the valley where some of Rayla's friends would go to, and we'd let them try them out. It didn't really push Rayla's vocal range, and so Robert was able to get in touch with a vocal coach here in Glendale who worked with Jordan Sparks.
Oh wow!
And her name is Melissa Black. She's fantastic, and so Rayla has been working with Melissa Black for a few years, and we would drive the hour-long distance just for that hour-long
to the
voice
Stadium.
lesson,
Parenting, man. That's
and
what
then an hour
is.
drive home. And every time Rayla would go to Melissa, she would learn so much. And she would make her sing the Whitney Houston songs, make her sing the Mariah Carey songs, make her sing,
that octave range is
right,
Yeah.
just huge, and push and push and push. And she continued to grow from that. And it was a huge benefit using Melissa Black.
Yeah, she had like what 10 octaves or something
Yeah,
like that. They said she had.
How many octaves are there? Because y'all are talking a foreign
I want to
language
say
right
like
now.
12 or something like that.
I think,
somewhere around
yeah.
there. I think she's
Honestly,
like
I
at 10 or
don't know.
something. Like she's high.
She's high, like
yeah.
Mariah Carey high.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
just amazing to me.
Right,
Like,
we don't even understand it.
Yeah,
Like,
you understand it more than I do because I'm sitting
Yeah.
here like, how many octave range
Yeah.
are there? Like, I
Right.
didn't
I
know
thought it
there
was
was
like
so
12 or something, but I would be wrong. But
Yeah.
I know they said she's up there where
Yeah.
she can go.
Man, that's great because once again, we're talking about sports. It's like you know what your kid needs. You know
Right.
what kind of athlete they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
You know what kind of entertainer they are.
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're not getting what they need here.
Right.
And like, I know this was something that we dealt with as parents, Ivana and I. People used to always tell us like, well, you're doing too much with your kids. Morgan's doing this and Deuce is doing that. Did you ever feel like you were doing too much with her, or did you just
No.
say, I don't care what y'all have to
Yeah,
say?
no. In fact, I think we just kind of we keep our circle pretty tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people don't see what we do every day because we are so busy with our business.
Yes.
And then we were so busy with our son drag racing. And
Oh,
then on
that's
top
right.
of,
Forgot about the
on top
drag
of
racing.
Rayla,
Traveling all
I
over the
forgot about
country.
that.
Drag
So
racing.
people just will always know, like, you guys are so busy.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. And we
Yes.
just don't have time to tell you all the ins and
Yeah.
outs.
Man, it's
but
none of your business.
Right. But what they did see was, they were very supportive of Rayla. I mean, they just are like, whatever you guys got to do, you guys are making it happen. And that's what we would just, sacrifice, making sure that getting Rayla to her lessons and making sure she has all of her dance shoes and tap shoes and leggings and, all the different things,
All your equipment. You got a big duffel
Right.
bag full of stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
'cause I mean, we never mind doing it for her because we saw the passion and
Yes,
the drive.
yes.
And she always said, like, Dad, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a performer. I don't care what anybody says.
That's good.
This is what I'm going to be, Dad.
But that speaks volumes to you as parents, though, to instill that in her, to know what she wants to do and to have that drive, because it's a lot of kids that when it starts to get a little tough and it gets a little overwhelming,
Right.
well, I don't know
Right.
if I want to do that.
Right.
And then, so your kid, you're like, okay, well, maybe we need to stop
Right.
this. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not stopping anything,
Yeah.
Mom. Come on, let's go,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because when Rayla was little, I would want to like introduce her to other activities. I'm like, okay, Rayla, let's do gymnastics. So we do gymnastics. She didn't like it. So I'm like, let's do dance. So then we got her into dance. She liked it. It was okay. Got her into swimming.
Yeah.
So she's never been like a team player.
Okay. Yeah,
she didn't
no,
like,
I get it.
she didn't
That's
like
okay.
anyone losing.
Yeah.
She didn't think
Yeah.
that was fair. So that's why she just always continued to stick with music.
Put it on herself.
Yeah,
Like, if
it's
I
all
lose
on me.
because of what I
Exactly.
didn't do.
Solo.
Yeah.
That's, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
great to have that kind of fire and desire in you, because when you're on a team sport, it's like no matter how hard I work, there could be somebody that
Right.
makes a mistake.
screw it
Right.
up.
Somebody else
Yeah.
could make a mistake, and so
And that's a hard pill to swallow. And Rayla didn't want to take that chance. She's like, if I'm going to mess up, it's going to be because of me and me only, and I don't have to worry about anybody else.
So I want to discuss this.
Yeah, so this is Rayla, where she was in Newsies. This was her sophomore year, so she was only 14.
What is
Actually,
Newsies?
Newsies is a musical. It takes place like in the 1920s, and it's a fun, high energy, musical. And she had a role where she kind of ran like this little club, and she gets to.
kind of club?
It's kind of like a dinner club.
Oh, I
but
thought I thought that was.
no, it was. So in April of 2021 is when the show went on, and in fact, my husband and I, we have a food truck, and on April the 8th, we caught on fire in our food truck, and were severely burned, and were admitted to the Valleywise burn unit, and we were there for several weeks recovering. The following week was when the show was going on for Newsies, and it was extremely traumatic for Rayla and Devin to go through this, and they're worried and wondering, when are we going to come home? And her director of the show was like, Rayla, if you don't want to do the show, we can have your understudy do it. She goes, no, my mom and dad would not want me to miss this. They would not want me to miss this. I am
Absolutely.
totally fine doing this. I'm doing this for them. Like,
Right, yeah.
I am doing it. And she put on a show for all of our friends and family to be there. We didn't get to watch it until I think the next day, and the director sent me a video clip, but I honestly don't remember it. And going back to like musical theater competition, again, Queen Creek High submitted their spring show for a award ceremony through ASU Gamage.
Okay.
So ASU Gamage puts on a spring show where they have adjudicators come to all the shows of all different high schools, and they rate you like the best performance, best director, best choreography, best soloist. So just like, the Grammys, but this is like high school level. And they came and watched the show, and she won best vocalist through the ASU Gamage Awards of all the high school musicals. I know.
This girl is amazing.
Amazing.
Like, I'm learning things about her that I'm just like, so now, hold on. Now, even though we're always talking about sports, you got to talk about this.
Yes.
Now. This, you got the Cardinals jersey
I'll
back
let
here.
you talk about sports.
Well, it's kind of my connection with the Cardinals, over some time, I took and submitted Rayla to sing the national anthem for the Arizona Cardinals this past year. And I sent in a couple clips of her singing. Yeah. And a couple days later, they called back, and he was like, hey, let's get her booked. I was like, well, does she need to come in to do an audition? He said, nope, I heard enough. And so we got her in there, and she did the first preseason game this year for the Cardinals. She did the Broncos game, and she went in there, man, and just
rocked the house.
Just rocked the house, man.
So did it bring you to tears?
Oh, man, it was unbelievable
Yes.
being down there on the field and just seeing her up on that stage by herself with confidence and singing in front of 20, 30,000 people. And then, at the end, to get the guys to send you a text saying, hey, that was the best national anthem that we've had in years. Man. And, they have recording artists coming out.
Yeah, say real recording artists.
They said it was the best they had in years. So we were very proud.
That just speaks volumes to like when you're there and you support your kids and you give them that confidence that they can go out and do anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, she's what, 17?
She just turned 18.
She just turned 18. I mean,
turned 18.
You got 18-year-olds that don't even know how to communicate with people, just talking to them, let alone get out there in front of 100,000 people and sing like that. Yeah. That would freak me out. Like, as much as I played in the Super Bowl and all these games, nobody really sees you directly. You're one of 11. But now it's like you're standing on that stage and all the attention is on you.
Yeah.
And she
loves it.
Yeah.
She loves it.
Does she get nervous before she goes out? No nerves, no fear?
No.
That's
my
a
stomach was in
blessing.
knots.
Oh, I am.
I was like,
I get nervous now for my kids.
my phone was shaking.
Yeah, like you're trying to, you're like, and you're like, oh my God, I'm messing everything up. And then she's up there just singing.
I know.
And you're like,
and she's like, I want to do it again and again and again.
Yeah.
See, you know what? That's when you have a love for something.
Yeah.
Like you don't. It just keeps going, no matter how hard it is, no matter how easy it is. She just keeps going. I want to keep doing this. I want to perform. I want to be. I want to be seen. I want to be a star.
Absolutely.
Like, that is just absolutely amazing. So now you have the first place trophies here.
Yep, from MTCA first place solo, where she's saying, I am here from Color Purple.
I'm gonna look that up.
Look it up.
I gotta look that up.
And in fact, Robert will send you a clip.
Yeah,
of her.
that's even better. Yeah.
And
That's
then
the best part.
where she received first place outstanding vocalist and won a $500 cash prize. And then one of the adjudicators that was in her judging her solo, he's the one that was from the New York Conservatory of Dramatic Arts and gave her the $15,000 scholarship. And that's the highest scholarship that they've ever given out.
And they gave her
ever.
2, right?
For each year.
Yeah, for each year.
Yeah.
So $30,000 for school. That's even better. I know you love
Right.
that.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And then on top of that, they wind up featuring her for this competition. Like they've never featured a kid in this competition of all the history of doing it. They were so impressed by her and her vocals and her skills that they changed the whole show up the night before.
Yeah, within a matter of
had her
days.
come in and perform on stage in front of thousands of kids from all across the nation. The only kid that's ever done this before. Yeah.
How do you keep your level head about you, man? Because that's that would be the same thing as Deuce being like all American,
Right.
leading the
Right.
sax and leading.
Right.
I'd be walking around.
I know.
Here, man. I wouldn't be able to walk
it's
into
hard.
a room.
It is hard because I feel like I feel it. Like my baby is a star, and I want the whole world to know. And I'm like, I'm waiting patiently because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's bubbling inside because I know when I watch the kids perform and you sit there and you know how much hard work they put in, you know the dedication and the sacrifice and what they've been through to get here. Like one of the expressions that I use is like you have to do so much work in the dark just to shine in the light for 15 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Real talk.
That's
so
a great
much
point.
work. So much work goes like people never see it.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
just see the end
the
result.
tears,
Yeah.
the stress, the
Yes.
anxiety,
Yes.
like the sleepless nights, the I'm not hungry, I don't want to eat, I'm cranky, don't talk to me, and all the ups and downs that we'd have to go through for that one moment for her to shine. It's all worth it.
It's all worth
Yeah.
it, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I can
Right.
talk about Deuce and football, and there's days where he was, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey man,
Yeah.
listen, we done invested too much time into this. We
Yeah.
put too much into this
Yeah.
for you all of a sudden feel like I don't want to do this.
Right.
And sometimes I know for me, you have to sit back and be like, am I pushing too hard? Is this what they want or is this
Yeah.
what I
Right,
want?
right.
So you always have to be mindful of, okay, this is what you want to do, right?
Right.
And they're like, this
Yeah.
is what I want
Right.
to do. Okay, well,
Right.
it's about to get tougher. Each
Right.
level you go up, it gets harder and
Right.
harder.
Yeah.
So
And I have to hold you accountable.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we never pushed her. We always been like the supportive. Like we sit back and just let her do her thing and go.
Make her make the
Yeah,
decisions.
and we just let her run the route that she wants to run.
Yeah, I like
And
that. Run
I mean,
route.
hey,
Run the
it's
route,
same
yeah.
thing,
Like that,
you know
right?
what I mean? Like you have a position that you play, and you got to go, and there's a road you got to take to get to the end.
Right.
And she pushes herself. I mean, a lot of kids around her, I guess you could say, kind of
Don't
jealous
have the
of
same
her.
work ethic
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
the determination.
And they don't understand when Rayla's at home, she's in her room working on music.
On a Friday
you hear
night.
her on Friday and Saturday night. They're out partying with their friends, going to
Yep.
Fat Cats, doing whatever it is they're doing. Rayla's at home working on her music because that's what she wants to be.
That's
And-
what top tier athletes do.
and that's what she does. So
The Kobe's, the Michaels, that's how they get to be those
Yeah.
people because, like you said, when everybody else is out having a good time, she's like, no, I got to work on my music. I got to do that. And I know for me, the first time I saw my kids do that, turn down like, yeah, I would love to go hang out, but I got work to do. It makes you so proud because
Yeah.
you're like, how many young kids actually know how to do that? Can say,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to set my friends aside for my dreams and my goals because
Right.
this is what I want. So
Yeah.
that's just like, wow, I've learned like a ton of stuff sitting here talking about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the bad part about that is like I really wanted her to enjoy her high school years, like going out to parties and hanging with her friends.
That's a
But at the
regular
same time,
student.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like she knew what she wanted. You know what I mean? And she had to drive, and she wanted to work hard to be the best that she could be. So I understood. But I used to tell her like, "Baby, go with your friends. Just go."
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "Nah, Dad, I'm just gonna chill out and just work on my music or whatever."
And that's so good, especially having a young lady, because I know I would be like, well, at least she's home. I can keep an eye on her. She's not out here
Oh,
messing
yeah.
with these little knuckleheads. And, so that's a way as a father, I know you're like, okay, I
Protected.
can keep
We know
my
where she
baby
was at.
safe.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh,
she's
yeah.
doing, where she's
Yeah.
at. You don't have to worry about getting a phone call. Mr. Everson, this is such and such
Yeah.
police department.
Right.
Whoa, what's going on?
Yeah,
Like,
no
no,
doubt.
that's not my baby. She's
Yeah.
here at the house
Yep.
with me.
Yep.
So that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Man. Oh my God. So listen, I want to wrap this up. So I want to ask you a question from both of y'all. If you could give some advice to a parent right now who has a daughter or a son who's in an entertainment and wants to do that, what would you say to them right now? Like, what would be your advice to them?
If I'm speaking to the parents of the child, I would tell them, support them, let them open those doors, get them in those activities, get them in the voice lessons, get them into acting lessons, let them be comfortable and confident in what they want to do and support that to the fullest. And then they'll run with it. Anytime I think that a child feels that a parent is kind of holding back and kind of reserved in something, then that shuts them down. And we don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
So you
Same
agree?
for me. I mean, I agree. Same thing. I mean, for me, it's I'm one of those type of guys where I'm like, let the kids express themselves. Like you get some parents that like don't want to let their kids dress a certain way, don't want to let them wear their hair the way they want and all that stuff like that. I'm one of those types like, hey, be you.
Yeah.
That way I know who I'm dealing with,
This is true.
and just let them go with the flow and let them come out to be who they're going to be naturally,
Right.
instead of you trying to control what they're going to be. So that's how I see it. And then, all the other points that she brought up as well, just, be there to support them.
Absolutely.
Mentally, financially, if you can.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one. But I mean, just do what you can do
Yeah.
to help your kids be successful, so.
Well, good, man. I appreciate y'all coming in here. Like this was huge for me because I had been going down the road of athletes,
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
Ivana, I need some help. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't keep doing athletes. I'm going to turn people off. So she was like, what about the Eversons? And I'm like, duh. So I
That's
appreciate
cool.
y'all coming on, man. This
Thank
was like a
you.
great time. I really
sure.
enjoyed and learned a
Thank
lot
you.
about Rayla. So thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in to The Route. Don't forget to subscribe and connect with us on socials for exclusive updates. We'll see you next week.